The Columbia River Gorge has been getting whipped with powerful winds, gusts so strong they knocked over a 200-year-old oak tree at an elementary school in Troutdale.
It's now in the process of being removed. Fox 12's Paulina Aguilar spoke with an arborist about the dangers of falling trees.
It fell yesterday afternoon right next to Sweetbriar Elementary. As you can see, it's not too far away, but there are a lot of large trees in people's yards that can potentially be dangerous. A neighbor told me that he had to get 2 trees removed from his yard to keep his house safe. We spoke with an arborist to give you some tips. 70-mile-per-hour winds in Troutdale caused a 200-year-old tree to fall Thursday afternoon. Depending on the direction of the wind and the position of the root, this tree could have fallen in any direction. Arborist Damian Correa says situations like this can be avoided.
More often than not, large trees go many, many years without getting even assessed. And I can tell you, I'd say 9 out of 10 situations that we see in storm season all could have been prevented with proper assessment and identification of the situation. They're living organisms, and they're constantly changing and dealing with whatever is happening as well.
Large trees can be worrisome for folks who have them in their own backyard. Here are some things you can look for.
Corky, spongy tissues, what we call delaminating bark, where the bark is kind of coming off of the tree trunk itself. Sparse foliage, whether it be a conifer or a deciduous tree. Sometimes like soil heaving, like you can see the root plate of the, you have the tree trunk and you can see the soil heaving, and seeing the root plate itself actually heaving out of the ground. That's a pretty large indicator that something should be dealt with.
So how do you maintain a tree?
Identify the areas that are most prone to the characteristics that are most prone to failing, and then you reduce them or prune them or minimize the end weight of whether it be vertically or laterally, because that's really what it comes down to, is the forces of gravity putting tension and compression on a certain section of a tree.
At the end of the day, it's important to get your trees assessed by a professional.
I think it's hard for homeowners or landowners to identify these things because they just don't know what they're looking at, and that's why there's arborists, to mitigate the risk and do our best to preserve trees during that process.
If you have some trees in your yard that you are worried about, it's suggested that you get them assessed toward the end of spring and do it every couple of years. Reporting in Troutdale, I'm Paulina Aguilar, Fox 12 Oregon.